Today is 4-3, solving inequalities using multiplication and division. So it's very similar to what we did yesterday, but instead of adding or subtracting, today you're going to have to either multiply or divide. So if I look at example 1, we're multiplying by a positive number. So if I look here, it's x divided by 2 is less than negative 1. To solve this, the opposite would be to take both sides times 2. When I do that, I get x is less than negative 2. So I'm going to always check my solution first before I graph it. So the first way, remember, is to change it to an equal sign. So is negative 2 divided by 2 equal to negative 1? Yes, it is. Number 2 then, it says x is less than negative 2, so a number less than negative 2, let's say, is negative 4. I picked an even one, so it would come out as a whole number, which is nice and neat. You could pick any number that's less than negative 2. So negative 4 divided by 2, is that less than negative 1? Is negative 2 less than negative 1? It is, so it also checks out. The last thing I'm going to do then is graph. X is less than negative 2, so I'm going to have negative 2, negative 1, 0. Negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. So x is less than negative 2. Since there's no equal to part, it's going to be an open dot. Less than goes to the left because the smaller numbers are to the left. Example number 2 now is multiplying by a negative number. This is multiplied by a negative 2/3. So the opposite would be to multiply by its reciprocal. And my pen's jumping around again, of negative 3/2. So if I do that, I end up with x is less than or equal to negative 3. Well, remember, the first thing we want to do is check it. So I'm going to sub that in. So if I do negative 2/3 times negative 3, is that equal to 2? If I look there, that is correct. 2 does equal 2. So it checks out with our first test. The second test, then, we have to check the inequality sign. So x is less than or equal to negative 3. So a number that is less than negative 3, I'm going to choose negative 6 so that it's easiest to work with. So negative 2/3 times negative 6. Is that less than or equal to 2? Negative 2/3 times negative 6 is actually a positive 4. Is 4 less than or equal to 2? No, so it didn't check out. The problem is when you multiply or divide by a negative number, there is something you have to do. So what do you notice when you check the solution? It doesn't work. The part that doesn't work is when we check the inequality sign. So if we were to flip the inequality sign around in our answer here, so instead of x is less than or equal to negative 3, we change it to x is greater than or equal to negative 3. So a number that is greater than negative 3, let's say we use 0. So I'm going to redo my check portion here. And I'm going to sub in 0 because 0 is greater than negative 3. Negative 2/3 times 0. Is that, oops, I got to copy the original. So when I sub it in, I copy the original. Negative 2/3 times 0 is less than or equal to 2. Is 0 less than or equal to 2? Yes. So that part now checks out. So in order to make it work, if you multiply or divide by a negative number, you need to reverse the inequality sign. If you forget to do that, then your answer will not check out and it will be incorrect. So when we reversed it, we now have an answer of x is greater than or equal to negative 3. So I have negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, negative 4, negative 5. X is greater than or equal to negative 3. So since it's equal to, my dot is going to be a solid dot. Greater than numbers are to the right. And that is why I could check 0 as my number, because it was part of our solution set. So this next part says you blank the inequality sign only if you are multiplying or dividing by a blank. You reverse the inequality sign only if you're multiplying or dividing by a negative number. So if we look back at example number 1, why did we not reverse the sign even though negative 1 was part of the problem? So if I scroll back up to example 1, here's the negative 1, but what part were we multiplying by? When we showed our work, we multiplied by 2. So we don't reverse the sign unless the number you are multiplying both sides by is negative. So our answer down here, oops, I skipped it. Why did the inequality sign on example 1 not have to be reversed even though negative 1 was part of the problem? We multiplied both sides by 2. Example number 3, remember the same holds true for dividing. So if you divide by a negative number, you also have to reverse the sign. So on this first one, we are going to divide by a negative 5. Since we are dividing by a negative 5, we need to reverse the sign. So z, reverse the sign, is less than or equal to negative 5. If I check my solution, negative 5 times negative 5 is equal to 25. That's correct, it checks out. The second part is the one that will cause problems if you forget to reverse your sign. So we said z has to be less than or equal to negative 5. We could plug in negative 6. So negative 5 times negative 6, and remember you're plugging it into the original, is greater than or equal to 25. Negative 5 times negative 6 is 30. 30 is greater than or equal to 25, so it checks out. So our answer is z is less than or equal to negative 5. We now have to graph our solution. We have the number negative 5, negative 4, negative 3, negative 6, negative 7 on the other end. It has an equal to part, so it's going to be a solid dot. It's less than, so it's going to go to the left. Did you have to reverse the inequality sign? Yes. We divided by negative 5. Our last problem here then is example number 4, problem solving. The student council votes to buy food for a local food bank. A case of 12 jars of spaghetti sauce costs $13.75. What is the greatest number of cases of sauce the student council can buy if they use at most $216 for the project? Well, at most means they can't use any more than that, so they have to use less than or equal to $216. Each case costs $13.75. So $13.75 times the case, because we're trying to find the number of cases, would be my inequality. So that's my first answer of my inequality. And now we're going to solve it. The opposite of times 13.75 is to divide. So C would be less than or equal to 15.7. Well, we can't buy a partial case, so the most amount of cases that we can buy is 15 cases. So my answer would be 15 cases. You now need to complete the quick check and then look at your schedule to figure out your assignment that matches these notes.